Welcome back to the 128 KB podcast. We are back once again.
Oh, due to lack of popular demand.
That's right, and that demand is so lacking that we are back talking about our favourite thing ever.
Oh, handheld gaming.
Handheld gaming.
Oh,
You're
yes,
right, it is.
Yes. I always just try and crowbar that in anywhere
I know. It was a bit like when I first met you. You would try and crowbar Nintendo into every sentence.
Yes.
And you got your wish.
Yes, that's true.
You
Yeah.
got your wish.
Yes, we have, especially in this episode.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh.
This is your weekly dose of all things gaming, and it's
indeed.
lovely to see your face again.
Yes.
Aren't you beautiful?
Oh,
Just
lovely.
sat there on the
cheers.
toilet watching us.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe we're accompanying you on your weekly commute to somewhere.
Maybe.
Maybe you work with us in the background.
Oh, yes.
And I'm talking to you. You know who.
Yes.
Yes. One of our members told us that we accompany them on their work and that they play us on a Bluetooth speaker so all the other people in their office or sorry, not in their office, in their workplace can listen too.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't know that.
The only problem with that I've got, the only bone I've got to pick with it is that we live and breathe. Our entire ego is built around the number of views we get.
Yes.
And if you share the view with five people, we don't see it.
Yeah.
And then that hurts my fragile little ego.
Yeah.
And then I spent the rest of the week crying that we only got 2 views this week and not 7.
So what you need to do, instead of putting it on a Bluetooth speaker, put it in your headphones and then make them all go, what you listen to.
Yeah.
And then you send
keep
them
it
the
to
link.
yourself. Yeah, share
and then
it.
they can put their headphones in.
It's great. If you do like what we do, I would implore you not only to rate the podcast or subscribe to the channel if you're on YouTube, but also consider sharing it with a friend.
Yes.
Because I think that's actually the best way to help us.
It is. And if you want to, become a member, you can talk to us in our private Discord.
Yeah, make it rain for like 99p. I want all your 99p's. We don't even get half of that.
No, I know. It's amazing.
Sucks, doesn't it?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm appreciative of you all, though.
Oh, yeah.
More than anything else, it's just nice to have a group of real, people together that are like-minded, that we all enjoy the same kind of things.
Passionate people.
We can chat, we can play games together, and look at pictures of me making you lunch.
Oh, yes. Yeah, they can. Or they can look at how big my dog is.
I thought you could say how big your dog's balls were then.
Well, that's true too.
That as well.
They are literally the size of kiwis.
Yeah, they are impressive.
It's pretty impressive, yeah.
Does he make you envious?
Yeah. He airs them out near my face pretty much every night.
He's really rubbing it in, isn't
he?
he?
He does. He rolls onto his back at night and he's just spread eagles. And they're just there. You're like, cheers, mate.
Ah, that's great. Look at that. I can see him right there. You kiwi fruit.
They slap around when he shakes as well. They're that big. And when he goes like that.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That is pretty special.
It is.
That's not what this podcast is about. We're not here to talk about your pet's balls. Although we do cover that as well. It's normally just an extra feature just for the Discord.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a paid area normally.
It's normally just your OnlyFans when you talk about balls. No. I actually wanted to talk about one of my favourite things, and definitely your favourite things. You're doing the balls impression.
Yes, yeah. You know those things that you go, and then they hit.
Newton's cradle.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's that. It's literally like that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Now that's a horrible mental picture I've got. It's a dog with 4 testicles and you just holding one end up.
Oh, no.
If anyone's good at drawing, I'd quite like that as a cartoon, actually. That'd be great. Andy using his dog as a Newton's cradle.
Yeah, he stands on my desk and that's how I keep the time.
Like a metronome.
Yeah.
No, I've lost track of where
you were saying that this episode, we're going to be talking something dear to your heart.
Well, it's more dear to your heart, but it's also, I would say, the thing that I'm most anticipating, as in the thing I'm most excited about happening.
It's the bingo card that you always drop every episode, isn't it?
But it's in this. I've got it in my head for this show. I'm not going to do it yet.
Okay.
Going to leave you on anticipation. Give you a reason to keep watching.
Okay, yeah.
All about that watch time.
Yeah.
Average viewer duration and all that nonsense. No, so the bingo card doesn't come out.
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
But will Nintendo end the console war? Did that with a deep voice really close to the microphone.
There's no will. You've got it the wrong way around. Instead of will Nintendo, it's Nintendo will end the console.
There's your title.
Oh.
Damn. The Nintendo Switch 2 is right around the corner.
Yes.
Confirmed by
Nintendo themselves.
That guy that I can never remember his name.
I can't speak Japanese.
Mr. Nintendo.
Mr. Nintendo.
Looks like old Mario.
Yeah, that's it.
Confirmed. Yes. Switch 2 is coming
this
financial year.
Yes.
Which kind of translates to probably March next year.
Yes, yeah. I reckon they're going to announce it towards the end of this year with the March sort of release, yeah.
Very exciting, genuinely exciting for lots of reasons.
Yeah.
But the primary of which is that the Switch... See what I did there? Primary of which is that the Switch is the current best-selling console of this generation by a long way.
Yeah, majorly.
And it will then become the newest piece of hardware on the market.
Yeah, and the most up to date. Yeah, which is crazy for Nintendo.
Yes, for so long we've been... the negative about the Switch is that it's out of date because it was out of date when it was released.
Yeah, it was already 2 years old, like in terms of the APU, when it got released.
But suddenly you're going to be having Nintendo releasing a console, their newest console, at the same time the PlayStation will be 5 years old.
I know.
Coming to
Same with the Xbox.
end. Yeah. Xbox will be 5 years old.
Yeah.
So we probably won't even have a successor to the Steam Deck by then either.
No, we won't. No.
So you will have Nintendo having the newest hardware on the market.
Yes.
Possibly, and I say this with slightly bated breath, but possibly the best performing piece of hardware on the market.
Yeah, but exactly. The most up to date and potentially the most powerful in the size.
Yeah.
And they haven't done that since the GameCube in 2001. Like,
really trying to go toe to toe.
Which is mad.
So we know it's definitely coming. That's confirmed out the horse's mouth. We did a whole video on the main 128KB channel.
Yes, we did, yeah.
About some really interesting leaks that had come out from the manufacturing supply chain.
Yeah.
Leaked by MobaPad.
Yeah.
We were the first people to publish that video.
Yeah.
Just saying, we were number one.
Yeah, and everyone copied us.
They did.
They didn't cite us, did they?
Do you know what? I keep seeing like bits popping up. I wonder if they'll. No.
Yeah, there's no credit towards us.
I watched the Nintendo podcast.
Oh yeah.
Recently, I don't know when this goes out, but recently, let's say last week.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
It was the 100th episode with Bob Wolf in it.
Yeah.
Back to the old team. I like the Nintendo podcast. It's nice. Anyway.
It's going off track.
I was just going off track. I can't even remember what I was going to say now. You've gone so far off track.
You were saying about MobaPad and us not being credited.
There we go. Thank you.
Yes. Someone's listening.
Yeah, I wasn't even listening to myself.
Someone's paying attention.
And they talk about it again in that. They talk about what do you think about
us?
What do you think about the magnetic Joy-Cons? And what do you think about the hardware leaks that have come out?
What do you think about those really cool guys?
Those two Brits that have got like a gaming podcast and a gaming YouTube channel.
And they leaked it all for the world.
Yeah, they published it for the world.
Yeah.
I didn't mention it.
No.
I was watching it, genuinely hopeful that it would come up. No. Just a little, like, again, like my like little ego thing. Like, I wonder if they mention us. That would be how cool that would be to be made. No, they didn't come up. Oh well, it didn't come up. Doesn't matter. We did cover it though, and so we know the kind of some of the physical hardware things that are coming.
Yeah.
Likely magnetic Joy-Cons. We know that the screen's probably going to be a 1080p.
Yeah, 8-inch. Yeah.
8-inch. We know that the dock's going to be slightly different. There's some like key things that we're pretty certain are going to be the case now. Mm-hmm. So we know that it's confirmed. We know some of the hardware stuff. And then you combine that with some of the other more generous leaks.
Yeah. And some of the leaks since then as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And it gets really exciting really quickly.
Yes.
I'll go back to, was it Gamescom?
Yeah, Gamescom, yeah.
And there was talk that a few select publishers or developers had been hands-on with a development unit and that they were being shown Zelda at 4K 60.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild
4K 60. The rumours since then is that one of the launch titles with the Switch 2 will be a remastered Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
To run at 4K 60.
Yeah.
And that's not to exclude that your original copy will be backwards compatible. And obviously you have the improvements of better hardware, but they're going to do a 4K remaster of it as well.
Yes.
That's really cool.
That would be amazing.
But the fact that they could get a game supposedly to run at 4K 60.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Massive
on a Switch.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Switch 2. But like on a Nintendo system.
Yeah.
To be ahead of the curve like that.
It's insane.
That's pretty exciting.
And it's got to be some pretty powerful bit of kit to be able to achieve that, you know? Like a really modern APU.
Yeah.
And it's obviously going to be NVIDIA.
Yes.
So we're going to see DLSS and ray tracing. Imagine Breath of the Wild with ray tracing in it.
Well, possibly, as you were saying before, better ray tracing than the PS5.
Potentially, if the PS5 chip is going to be, well, it's 4 years old now from when it was publicly launched. But how long was it being worked on before
Easily
then?
a year.
At least a year. So you're looking at 5 years old, maybe even coming up to 6 years old when the Switch 2 comes out.
Yeah.
Whereas the Switch 2 APU will be 12 months old by that point?
At most.
So in terms of generational, it's going to be much, much more modern.
Huge.
So it's going to be able to compute much faster in a way, and it might tackle ray tracing and everything much better.
Yeah. Genuinely exciting to hear that. Obviously, like you say, there's going to be some kind, because it's NVIDIA powered as well, there's going to be some kind of hardware accelerated upscaling.
Yes.
Because natively, it won't be a 4K 60 machine.
No, supposedly.
Because there's no need to do that handheld.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, supposedly it's going to be DLSS 3.5.
Yeah.
So for the upscaling. So
it's not a true 4K if we're honest about it.
No,
it is an upscale.
It's a lower resolution upscaled.
But a very intelligently done one.
Yes, yeah.
That for all intents and purposes, it will look great, like you say, but for all intents and purposes, will just look like a 4K image.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And it has... The more I consider this, the more it actually has to do that. Not just because it's like a big nice to have box ticked, but the life of the original Switch, we're talking, is going to be coming into its 8th year when the Switch 2 is in retail.
Yes.
So if we have the same life ahead going forward, 7 to 8 years, which is very typical for a console generation.
Yeah.
Everyone... in 8 years' time, home systems everyone will have 4K panels by then. 90% of people.
Yeah.
You see it now, the difference between now and 5 years ago, like how cheap the average 4K LCD panel is for TV at home.
Yeah.
You get them for like 150, 200. They're nothing.
Yeah.
So you might as well get that. So most people like now, and the majority of sales now must be for 4K TVs, even the really cheap ones. So you fast forward that again into another decade, which is what we will be, so the 2030s.
Yes, yeah.
It has to be 4K 60, kind of as a minimum in TV mode.
Yes. Well, that's the thing, is they're saying that the APU is going to be like severely undervolted in handheld mode.
Yeah.
So to get better battery life. So like it's going to have like a severe undervolt.
Throttling.
Yeah, just so that it can achieve that. But then as soon as you dock it, it will unlock it, and
there's
it will probably
exactly
mains
power.
Yeah, so it's then going to boost up to be able to handle that, which is great. Have best of both worlds, because obviously you don't need all that power if you're only powering like an 8-inch screen.
Yeah, of course.
And then if you chuck it on the dock, boom,
Now there was some talk, and this is one bit that I actually disagree with that will happen.
Yeah.
There was some talk that the dock itself will have some kind of hardware acceleration within it.
Nah.
It's just not Nintendo to do that.
It's going to be the same as it is currently.
Well, and it's kind of like their mission statement with the Switch is that everything is in it.
Yeah.
The dock is just this dumb bit of plastic with a USB connector and a power cable.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's all you're getting there. But the whole idea is, an ethos with the Switch is that the whole console is in the Switch.
In your hands, yeah.
So I just disagree that the dock will have any kind of hardware acceleration.
No, it's not going to have like a discrete GPU in it.
No,
do you know what I mean? Like you could do with the Asus ROG Ally, where you plug in like a desktop graphics card and then make it turn into like a proper PC. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to be doing that. No.
That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, it'd be hilarious if it does.
Wow.
The new Nintendo 5090 card by NVIDIA. It's got Mario on it.
Rack-mounted GPUs.
I mean, they might do. Maybe Nintendo has become the king of PC gaming.
Use your Nintendo for Bitcoin mining.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Get your Nintendo Switch. Yeah. Mad.
There's some other cool hardware stuff as well coming with it, isn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, there was leaks about like how much RAM it will have.
Yeah, 12 gigabytes of DDR5X.
DDR5X. That's the interesting part as well. Again, future-proofing stuff.
Yes, yeah.
Just all in all, the performance. One of the things I hate that gets talked about is like, what kind of console is it? Like, and they say like it's a PS4 equivalent.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense anymore.
No, it's not
like,
the same
the
architecture.
rules different.
Yeah.
It's just gone. Like that language doesn't make sense.
Yep.
So it's not. The fact that they're playing a remastered version of Zelda 4K 60 on it tells me that it's probably going to perform better than a PS4 will.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't be able to do that on a PS4.
No.
So already we're into it stepping on the PS5's toes.
Yeah, absolutely it will. Yeah, totally. I totally agree with that. It's going to be somewhere in between the sort of Series X and Series X.
Yes.
Which should I say? This S and X.
Yes.
Somewhere in between there. Do you know what I mean? I think it's going to be closer to the top end because like we said, it's going to be a much more modern APU inside that. So I think it's going to be more capable.
I know we said it's going to end the console war. We're going to get into the other reasons why. We need to preface the hardware part first for the rest of it to make sense.
There's only... go on.
I was going to say, there was the other thing that was mentioned is that there's the potential for there to be multiple SKUs.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Oh, you were going to say the same thing?
Yeah. I was like,
okay,
because I hadn't really considered this. Yeah, because obviously we've got the OLED now.
Yeah,
and we've seen
amazing.
Valve follow suit with the Steam Deck OLED, and like when you look at those screens, beautiful,
amazing.
But obviously you pay more for them.
Yeah.
So like the Steam Deck OLED is a hefty chunk more than the base LCD model, and the same with the Switch. The Switch to the Switch OLED, big chunk difference, and the rumors been kicking around a long time now that the Switch 2 will be LCD, and obviously we've thought production costs down,
retail costs
lower, maybe it's cheaper. Maybe they're worried about the burn-in scandals that people have been going, Switch OLED burn-in, whatever.
It's not real.
Or maybe because they want to go for a higher refresh rate screen, maybe but there's no sort of modern leaks about refresh, but maybe these were some of the reasons we were trying to justify the LCD. But what if there was multiple SKUs?
Just makes so much more sense.
What if they do a base tier LCD model? I mean, they could even get away with having a cheaper chassis. Do you know what I mean? It could be plastic instead of metal or something for kids.
I always think with a lot of these big companies, fundamentally they never change. As in how they behave is almost always the same. Especially if the last time they did something was successful.
Yeah,
very odd for them to go off piste and do something different.
Yes,
next time. So to get a clear idea of what's going to happen when the Switch launched. Was it just they launched just the Switch on its own?
Just the Switch on its own.
How long after that did the Switch Lite come out?
I don't remember.
It wasn't that long.
I want to say it was at least a year.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably fair, but it's quite close.
Yes, it was close, yeah.
So they had the premium version at the time.
Yeah.
And then they had the light version, which was obviously the budget version, didn't have the dock or the detachable Joy-Cons, which... it was just a great offering in of itself because inside the performance was identical.
Yeah, it was the same thing.
And then 3 years after, then the OLED comes out.
Yes, then the OLED came out, yeah.
And it's almost, was it 3 or 4 years later?
It was 2021.
It was 4 years after then.
Yeah, I think
4 years after the Switch launched, the OLED comes out, and all the talk was actually the OLED was supposed to be like a Switch Pro.
Yeah, well, I think it was meant to be at the time.
The hardware shortages at the time meant that they could only come out with the OLED at the time. But actually, the OLED proved to be enough of an upgrade in of itself.
100%. Yeah.
So how hard is it to believe that whatever the launch model is, that very quickly after that, there'll be a second SKU? I don't think they'll do it at the same time.
You don't think they'll launch two?
I just don't. I think they... behave in how they've always behaved.
Yeah, maybe.
And it gives you another, as a brand, it gives you another chance to do a big marketing push because there's this new, remind everyone.
And it gets everyone to buy it twice.
Well, it does. Yeah, let's be frank. Or it gives you a chance to make one slightly cheaper than the other to give an incentive.
Yeah.
So whatever they launch with, then the opposite will be next. Kind of obviously.
Yes.
But if they launch with... an LCD model, then a premium OLED comes out afterwards. But if they launch with the OLED, then a cheaper LCD model comes out afterwards as the light version.
Yeah, that could be a potential. I mean, again, I think you're right. I think they're going to follow suit with how they've always done it. They've always done revisions because, again, it incentivizes people to buy it twice.
Yeah.
But, with other consoles, specifically looking at the PC handhelds, I mean, you're looking at different SKUs off the bat.
Yeah, that's
Again,
very true. Yeah.
Steam Deck, you had the 64 gig, the 256, then the 512.
Yeah.
Now you've got the other variants with the OLED. And then you even look at the Asus ROG Ally, you've got the Z1 Extreme version, and then you've got the Z1 cheaper version, which with less performance. And they're both out. You know what I mean? I know they did have a step though, as well. There was the Extreme first, then later the Z1 came out.
Yeah.
So
I almost am tempted to say that's the way round they'll do it.
Yeah.
Because that's what they did the first time.
Yeah.
They did the Switch and then the Switch Lite.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
So maybe
they would have had the Switch Lite made already and they just delayed it to give themselves that second marketing push. My heart says and hopes that they go OLED.
Make a massive impact on the scene.
Massive impact. They blow everyone out of the water for all the other reasons we're going to go on to talk about as well. And then they do an LCD as like a light version.
Yeah, I think they're going to do LCD first to get everyone to buy it. Then when the OLED comes out, everyone's going to buy it again because they're going to. Do you know what I mean?
And then the smart play is if you're not fussed with the OLED screens, just wait because second-hand market, ka-ching.
Yes, yeah.
Although saying that, the Switch in the second-hand market is still holding its price to this day.
Yeah.
Nintendo's second-hand just has this magic aura.
They've always held the value, haven't they?
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
So if you're listening to this so far, you're like, I don't get it. You're just talking about Nintendo hardware. It's a new Switch. I've never liked the Switch. I don't play the Switch. What's the point of the Switch? Because you just get to play Nintendo games, and maybe you can play a game cool enough as Metroid, but that's not my favorite game. I like playing Final Fantasy 7 or I like playing Halo.
Yes.
Well, the good news is
you might be able to do both.
Not just might, you're going to be able to do both.
Yeah, well, definitely on Square side. Absolutely.
So the first big thing is that Square have stepped away from being Sony exclusive at launch.
They packed their bags.
The slightly more seasoned gamers will understand that actually that's not that new for Square because
they've always released games cross-platform. Yeah,
but the biggest ones,
Final Fantasy,
the whole Final Fantasy series since the PlayStation 1 and Final Fantasy 7 was first launched has been PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah.
For at least 1 or 2 years, depending on the title.
Like 30 years.
Yeah. What was it? 97? Final Fantasy 7?
I thought it was like
94 maybe. It might be actually 30 years.
Yeah. I think it's about 30 years.
Shot through the heart. Shit. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Showing our age.
Anyway, it's been a huge thing. They stole it away from Nintendo, and it was purely based off the fact that Sony were putting a huge amount with branding at the time and marketing, and they kind of launched the PlayStation experience with Final Fantasy VII as one of the closer to the start, especially in Europe anyway, where we are. That Final Fantasy VII was just all over the Sony marketing and those great cinematics for its time and stuff. And it was almost purely based out of the perceived performance of the PlayStation at the time.
Yeah.
And they followed that all the way through. It's always been one of its kind of poster child games.
One
of its AAA games.
You think like PlayStation, you think Final Fantasy.
Think Final Fantasy.
Always.
Absolutely. But Square have been absolutely disappointed with the sales results of the Final Fantasy games.
Well, it was obvious with 16,
wasn't
wasn't it?
really
Because that came out, and then I didn't hear anything of it.
No,
you didn't hear any stats or any I didn't hear much of anyone talking about it, which was really odd because it was like when 15 came out. I remember that.
Yeah.
And everyone went mental for it. And then granted, there's loads of people that don't like it, but it still had a big impact.
It's still a Final Fantasy game.
Yes, and it's good. 16 came out. I still don't even know what it's about, how it plays. I don't know anything about it.
Okay, everyone knows.
Are you?
It's the bingo card for 128 kV. Final Fantasy 7 and 8 are my two of my favourite games of all time.
I would have never guessed.
It's weird, isn't it? I'm sure I mentioned it once or twice.
Only a few thousand times.
Before I got a copy of 16, I had zero idea what it was about, and I'm in that space.
You should know.
I should.
Yeah.
We should know because we're in the space of making videos about games and playing games and stuff. I'm a Final Fantasy fan, And I had no idea what the game is about.
No.
Like, zero.
Yeah.
And in truth, I still don't really know what it's about.
No.
But it's their blockbuster title. It's should be a PS5 poster child.
It should be like a massive push. And then they should have done so much more with it.
Less than a year later, the second part of the Final Fantasy VII remake comes out, Rebirth.
Which is, again, everyone's been waiting for this for how many years? 4 years since,
my God.
remake?
4 years since remake, and the original announcement for the remake was like 4 or 5 years before that. It was such a long time coming. I've played the game. It's an incredible game. It looks beautiful. Its sales... Well, it's so disappointing that they've not announced the figures. The only thing they've said about sales is that it was the best-selling game of February and it was released on the last day of February. But what else was released in February? I think you had Tomb Raider Remastered or something.
Great.
Come on, it's basically they've just made a mobile game for the PlayStation. To be fair.
Yeah.
There wasn't a huge amount released in February, is my point.
Yes, yeah. So it didn't have to do much.
There's very little competition.
Exactly, yeah.
And of course, it's going to sell a lot day one because all the fans have pre-ordered it, like me. And we tell everyone not to pre-order games, and I obviously did because I'm a child and I can't listen to good advice.
Yeah, but there's some things you just got to do.
Yeah. So obviously it's going to sell well day one, which was the last day of February. And so they were trying to spin that as a great news story. They only had one day, and it's like, behave.
Yeah, it's not great.
That's not, because why have you not said a word since about
normally
it?
You'd be like, we've sold 10 million copies in a week.
I don't even think it's got to 10 million.
No.
I'd be surprised. They have said that the sales have been much less than anticipated, I think the wording was.
Think about how much that cost to make that game.
Oh my God.
Insane amount.
They kept the same team almost to a person than they had from the first part of the remake, which means that team have been on staff for a decade. And how expensive it is to keep someone in pay increases and all that stuff. I would hate to think how much that game has cost to make so far.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if it's broken even.
Yeah.
And that's because, according to Square, not from what they've said, but how they're behaving, it's because it's a PS5 exclusive.
Yeah. And the thing is you think, as we said, Sony, you think Final Fantasy, and people would buy PlayStations
to play
for the latest Final Fantasy.
Yes.
And now we're hearing the latest Final Fantasies are underperforming, for the first time in 30 years?
Yeah.
That's just weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what's Square done now?
They made a big announcement to say that they are no longer exclusive to PlayStation.
They've packed their bags and they've gone home.
They are attacking a multi-platform approach to their newer releases.
Yes, for all newer releases, I think they said.
Yeah, for all new releases. And I just read that and for this reason, there are other Square games that are multi-platform from release. It's not all of them that are PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah.
For them to say this means that the ones that are no longer.
Yes, yeah. They're trying to say everything now is going to be multi-plat.
And that means that the next Final Fantasy installment, the final part of Final Fantasy VII Remake, which will be the biggest one, my God, that is going to be available on the Nintendo Switch 2.
Yes.
Because at the time of launch, that will be the most up-to-date piece of hardware on the market.
Yeah.
So now, let this settle in. The best way to experience the Final Fantasy VII Remake will be on the Nintendo Switch.
Handheld.
That doesn't even make sense.
It's mad, isn't it?
That'll be the best way to experience.
Yeah.
The most supreme way. And the madness doesn't end there. For the Nintendo, timing of the Switch 2.
Yeah. It gets better.
We saw Xbox in February have their business direct, and they said themselves that they're going to make more and more games available multi-platform because they want to remove the barriers to entry for gamers. And they just want people to enjoy their games wherever it is.
And it even goes back before then with the acquisition of Activision when they said Call of Duty from now on will be released with complete parity on Nintendo systems.
Including Nintendo systems.
Exactly.
So there's this multi-platform approach happening from Microsoft. Microsoft are the biggest owned publisher of games in the world, because of the number of studios they own, not necessarily in size of like volume, but they own
everything.
They've just got this huge network.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. So for them to say that they are releasing more and more games, multi-platform, so more players can experience this game, for them to say Call of Duty will be available with parity across all systems, including Nintendo, shows you that they're obviously in at least some kind of open dialogue for what's going to be happening. Or just at least like the rest of us looking ahead and going, they're going to be releasing something amazing coming up.
Yeah. They'll know.
They'll definitely know.
Yeah.
There's more to that story that happened really recently. I wish I could remember the guy's name. It does Insider Reports.
Yes, I know who you mean. I can't think of his name.
Anyway,
yes.
That guy.
Yeah. Insider Gaming dude.
Jim Corden, was it?
Jim Corden. What, from Batman?
Not Gordon. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
He's just going to put the flare up.
Yeah, that's it. Alfred comes out. It's great.
Anyway.
It's Bruce Wayne, wasn't it? Sorry, I'm just messing with you now.
The talk is that from the CFO of Xbox or Microsoft Gaming, that the game sales have been so underperforming that they have to take an aggressive approach in every department of Xbox and Microsoft Gaming to increase their margins. That's what they've said. So they are taking a no red line approach to which games will become multi-platform that are currently owned by Microsoft Studios.
Man.
A no red line approach. This includes conversations around the Halo franchise.
Yeah. So what they're saying is you're going to get Halo and God of War on Switch 2 with Final Fantasy.
What now?
So basically you've got Xbox over here.
Yep.
Microsoft and Sony over here.
Yeah.
And then you've got Nintendo in the middle.
In the middle.
Just taking all of it.
Yeah.
We'll just have all your games.
I'll steal that off you. Cheers. We'll publish them over here as well.
And look at our Nintendo games that no one's ever going to get to play unless you play with us.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, we're keeping them to ourselves.
Yeah. Just come get a Nintendo,
Honestly, kind of insane.
Yeah, it's going to be a mad next few years.
So just
I really think it will be.
Switch 2. Okay, it launches.
Yeah.
There's going to be a new Mario Kart at launch. That's almost nailed on to happen. Well, that's what all the rumours are. There's going to be the 4K remaster of Zelda.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. This sounds like a pretty good launch so far. You're going to then be able to play the latest Call of Duty. Whatever comes out for Halo. And probably all the old Halos as well if you're into that.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII will look better than it's ever looked before. And the latest version of it will come out, and all the future Final Fantasy games will be available on there. And the objectively best place to play them will be on Nintendo Switch too.
It's insane. Like you can't really even fathom it, can you? Because you think of the Switch and you think of this little isn't it cute? Like it can hardly run games.
Yeah,
look at Scarlet
play some
and
Animal
Violet.
Crossing. Oh,
do you know what I mean?
Cool.
Like look at Scarlet and Violet, their biggest game.
Yeah,
and it runs at like -1 FPS. It takes frames out of your eyes.
I was going to say it goes back in time, but no, it takes light away from you.
So so you've got this little thing, and then all of a sudden, its big hench brother's going to come out. And it's just going to dominate.
I think it's going to dominate.
I think it will. I hope it does.
If genuinely, there's a few things that can mess it up.
Yeah, of
it's
course.
Nintendo.
It's Nintendo.
They'll probably do those things.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
There's a few things that can mess it up. But if they manage to get something that is future-proofed, as in it is as good as it's supposed to be at launch, and they get these titles from third-party developers that have got like a much wider reach. Games like Call of Duty, not particularly games that I would reach for, but have a huge reach. And the best way to play it on a console is on the Nintendo. Well, then how many more players are going to come into the Switch ecosystem?
Absolutely. But
which is already the biggest.
Just even for Call of Duty alone, you're going to have people playing PlayStation and Xbox buying a Switch just to play Call of Duty anywhere they want portably.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Even the Steam Deck can't play Call of Duty.
It's kind of crazy.
So unless you install Windows, obviously, or buy like an Asus ROG Ally, but do you know what I mean? Like for a off-the-shelf console that little Billy can just buy, like, Mommy, I want to play Call of Duty. Here's your Nintendo.
How many of the Xbox developed games, the Microsoft Studios developed games, are going to be cross-platform at launch, do you think?
Yeah.
If they're taking this really aggressive approach.
What do you think, like Indiana Jones?
That's where my head just went. Indiana Jones.
Available on Switch 2.
Like published by Microsoft.
Yeah. I still think we could still potentially see, at some point in the future, Game Pass on Switch.
It feels more likely now
give
than
it 5
ever.
years.
I don't even think that long.
Yeah, but they've already said, like, look, we're trying to release games elsewhere.
Yep.
But you've got Game Pass here at home in Xbox. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what's going to shift one day. I think a bit more time. I think over the next 5 years, we're going to see more and more Xbox games come over, like you've said. Yeah. And it will get to the point where Xbox go, you know what? Let's just play anywhere. Everyone could have Game Pass. Sony won't take it.
But
at
that
Nintendo
point,
would.
does Microsoft go kind of back to being just about software?
Yeah.
I mean, they won't. I don't think they'll turn the back on Xbox hardware. I think
I don't.
I just think that's too important to them at the moment.
Yes.
Especially whilst Phil Spencer's still there. I think that's kind of like something he holds on to. But it becomes less important to them. And then the focus is more on, like Netflix. We'll get more and more people subscribed.
I think they're already there. I think they're already thinking Xbox hardware is not as important
as the subscription.
As the subscription and getting games on all systems and just getting people playing their games.
Dude.
Do you know what I mean?
This is how mad it is. I've got an Xbox Series S, which is really underpowered.
Yes, yeah.
And obviously it's digital only, so I'm only playing Game Pass games on it. Give me the choice, and I'd rather have the next generation Nintendo Switch, which is massively better performing than the Series S. I could play all the Nintendo games, which I know and love as well.
Play all your Final Fantasy games.
play Final Fantasy like it's never looked before. And I can have Game Pass on it. I'd keep my Game Pass subscription.
Yeah.
Do you know, for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If I didn't have one already, I would take one out. I only got the Series S to take out a Game Pass subscription to play Starfield. That's the reason I got it.
Yeah.
So if I already had a Switch 2 in the future, and that was the case, then I'll just take out the subscription.
I think that'd be stupid not to. I mean, the original Switch already, 145 million sold?
Yes.
Imagine enabling Game Pass to that audience. They are literally shooting themselves in the foot by not doing it. Obviously, Nintendo needs to approve that.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't they? Because then all the Xbox people are going to come buy a Switch to play their games portably, unless Xbox release a handheld. But that will still be years away. Yeah.
That's literally there's
2-3 years away.
A couple of things that could stop the Switch 2 kind of ending the debate about console wars. Xbox pulling their finger out. And coming out with their own handheld.
Yeah.
Maybe it's in collaboration with NVIDIA rather than just using NVIDIA, because there's talk that NVIDIA were exploring the idea of their own handheld.
Yeah.
So could it be the NVIDIA Xbox, or maybe it's in some kind of collaboration with them? The other thing that could really hamstring the Switch 2, and it's not as in such a massive way, but they need to sort out some of the actual physical hardware parts of the Switch to make it better handheld.
Yes.
I know they love the Joy-Cons.
Yes. Yeah.
Objectively, the Joy-Cons suck.
Yes.
Balls.
Yeah. They're horrible. Like
the
in terms of
joysticks are
ergonomics.
horrible.
But I think they're going to come out with like a pro design.
Just pay attention to what companies like Mobipad have done.
Yes.
Maybe it doesn't launch with it. Maybe it's not shipped with it.
Yeah, it's just an accessory.
You already
the Sony
sell
approach.
the Joy-Cons as an accessory, the different coloured ones or replacement ones. They're already really overpriced.
Yeah.
Just sell the Pro Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
Even maybe they don't have mechanical buttons. Maybe it's just Hall Effect joysticks that are a bit more pro-like.
Remember we used to drift? Not anymore.
Do you know? Just even if they're as simple as like the Split Pad Pro or something.
Yeah.
They don't have to be smart in any way. They just have to have better ergonomics and better hardware.
They're going to do. I really think they're going to do a Pro Joy-Con.
They have to. Yeah.
Even if it's not launched with it, it's going to be an accessory, £100 or something. It'll be expensive.
Yeah.
Because it will have all the features. It'll be official from them, and it's just going to win. Do you know what I mean? All it needs to do is have better ergonomics.
Yes.
That's all it needs.
All it needs.
You know,
that's how this. I mean, we've built like the main 128 KB channels kind of seems to have grown around the marketplace of third-party controllers, Joy-Con alternatives and stuff. And that you can kind of trace that back to when we started making videos about it, when they first started appearing.
Yeah.
And they were really, it was like the Hori split pad. They were really dumb.
Yeah. Oh,
just empty
can't
bits
do
of
anything.
plastic.
It's just inputs, yeah.
But the ergonomics so much better. Cool designs, they were licensed by Nintendo.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Like the Zelda one and stuff.
Yeah.
But they were just dumb bits of plastic with great ergonomics.
Yeah, no gyro, no rumble, nothing.
And now we've got to the stage where you've got like HD rumble and
it's just everything and more
mechanical
than the
face buttons and stuff. Insane levels.
Yeah.
Somewhere in between. It's fine.
Yeah.
Somewhere in between.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's one of my worries I have, especially seeing the amount of like handheld hardware that's coming out at the moment. And obviously everyone kind of borrows supply chains and stuff.
Yeah.
When we saw that absolute...
Yes, with the Joy-Con joysticks.
And all the Ambernex stuff that's coming out with the Joy-Con joysticks.
Yeah,
yes, the Hall effect, but they're exactly the same. I just worry about that the Switch's magnetic Joy-Cons are going to have the same... They're probably Hall effect, because they're like, they know it's a buzzword now.
Yeah.
But they're like...
They better not be Joy-Con sticks.
I think they will be. I think they're going to keep... And I think they're going to keep that same bad ergonomic, that straight down thing.
I don't know.
And they won't do away with the staggered design.
The asymmetrical joystick layout.
They won't go to what Steam Deck's done.
No, they won't. They'll stay asymmetrical, but as long as they give you a horn...
Yeah. I don't think they will.
Onto.
Just don't see it.
Well, I don't know. We will see. I feel like they're going to release the standard ones, which will be better for kids.
Do a little bet?
Okay, go on then.
I don't know, like 50p or something.
50p bet. Go on. 25 pence.
25.
10. Freddo.
A Freddo, that's a great bet. A Freddo, they don't have horned joysticks.
Like £3 now, aren't they?
Joy-Cons.
Yeah, there you go.
They are, yeah.
I think that they won't launch with it, but I think that they will.
Oh, that's a cop-out.
I said this a second ago. I said they won't launch with it, but it'll be an accessory that you can buy.
I think they'll do that. Oh, that's the bet ended then.
Do we both get a Freddo?
Well, I'll buy you a Freddo anyway.
Okay.
Only if you give me one.
Yes.
And a Freddo.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. How much are Freddos these days?
I have no idea.
It's the only way to keep
track. Do I look like the kind of guy that buys Freddos?
I like Freddos.
Don't answer that. It's truly exciting. And I know we've gone through like a really long-winded journey on it, but like the talk of the actual performance of the hardware is that it's going to be future-proof. So it's going to be probably the best way to play games at that moment. It's definitely going to be the most modern way.
For Nintendo games, we're going to see some insane
like honestly, like the next generation of Zelda games, Mario.
Look what they've squeezed
Prime
out
4
of the...
is actually possible.
Yeah, well, we've got the June Direct, haven't we? Are we going to see... They've got no big games. Are they going to just whip out Prime 4 to tie you over for the next year on Switch
and
1?
Then just... Like they did so many, didn't they, at the end of the Wii U era?
Yeah.
That
and then
tied
just
into the Switch.
But will we see, instead of a re-release for the Switch 2, will they just do the paid upgrade?
Yeah.
So, like, 10 quid, upgrade it to Switch 2.
Genuinely believe that.
Instead of having to rebuy the entire game, it'll just be an upgrade purchase.
Yeah, I genuinely believe that, purely because we saw Sony do it with Last of Us.
Yeah,
if you had the original version, it was a £10 upgrade to get
for some different lighting. Yeah,
it was identical. At least with this, there's going to be a notable difference because the Switch now is so underperforming compared to what the success will be. The hardware in itself is exciting. What the hardware enables is really exciting.
Yes. Yeah.
And then what's happening in the marketplace around, and everyone, without saying it, all the big publishers are pointing at Nintendo and saying, over there is where we're going. That's what makes me say that the Switch 2 will not only end the console because it brings everyone together, it's also the thing I'm most excited about that's coming out.
Yeah, because we could potentially see more games on the Switch 2 than any other console.
Yes.
Because there's, like you said, you've got games coming from all directions. Yeah. You might see Assassin's Creed Shadows released on it.
Why not?
All that kind of stuff. You could see some insane stuff.
And how many, I'll use the bingo card again. How many Switch players have only got a Switch and would love to play Final Fantasy VII, the remaster of Final Fantasy, the remake of Final Fantasy VII, but haven't had a chance to.
Yeah, they'll remake it for, they'll re-release it.
It's home.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy belongs on the Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, what about...
It's coming home.
What about Grand Theft Auto 6? It's coming out at the end of 2025. And if the Switch 2 launches at the beginning of 2025...
Well, it's a launch title, isn't it? It's a day one...
launch title?
Is it for Grand Theft Auto? It launches onto the Switch.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I mean. Yeah. I thought you meant like launched with the Switch. Like.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Day one.
Yeah. Here's your GTA Switch edition. But yeah, imagine that.
But of course.
Yeah. Because it would be powerful enough. We've seen the GTA trilogy on the Switch,
Yeah, I mean, the definitive edition was so good.
The definitive edition, yeah. The trash can edition.
You know, the hundreds of videos we've made together.
Yes.
There's only one that I'm genuinely embarrassed about.
That one. Is it because you said you felt it was amazing?
Yeah.
We were starstruck by having GTA on the Switch, though.
Yeah. My judgment was slightly clouded.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it. That was a mistake. And
I waited for the physical for like 9 months, and I still didn't cancel it.
I don't know why you didn't cancel it.
I didn't cancel it.
Yeah, I think it was just because it was so cool to be able to play.
It was, yeah.
Play like San Andreas handheld.
Yeah, we were just like,
cool,
oh my
man.
God.
That's so good. I didn't even notice the game-breaking bugs. I didn't notice because we hadn't played it that much. We played it for like an hour.
We would just jump straight on like, yeah, look at this. And then we realised like, okay, yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, it really is really bad.
Oh, well.
Anyway, that's the Switch of the past.
It is.
And that's GTA of the past.
Yeah,
GTA 6. Why wouldn't it be there?
Exactly.
Because when that releases, it's still probably going to be the most up-to-date piece of hardware.
Yeah, it will, because it'll be launching it in 2025.
And why wouldn't they want that huge player base that it's going to have?
Yeah.
It's going to be insane. The mad thing with GTA 6 releasing at the end of 2025 is that will be the first holiday season that the Switch 2 has had.
Yeah.
You know what they're going to do?
Yeah.
They'll bundle it together.
Yeah. Yeah, retailers will.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, why wouldn't Nintendo?
Because it's GTA.
Yeah, I know, but I mean...
Get your Mario and get your drugs like murder and everything else.
I guess that could stop it, is the tone of the game.
Yeah, but I mean, they've released...
The definitive
it's no different.
Yeah,
it's the exact same thing. So, it's all down to Rockstar, I'd say. And why wouldn't you, like you said?
Oh, they just want players.
Exactly. They want to get the money back that they've spent 40 years building one game for.
They must have spent billions by now.
So I think we could see that happening. I don't see why we couldn't see a GTA 6 on Switch too.
That's mental. So that holiday season, just take that in for a second. You'll have, let's just play the fantasy out.
Yeah.
The Final Fantasy out.
Yeah.
You have GTA 6 on Switch too.
Yeah.
You'll have the latest Call of Duty releasing at that holiday season.
Oh, you will. You actually will.
You actually will.
Yes.
The Assassin's Creed game, let's just say, that's going to be on there.
Yeah, potentially.
Why not?
Yeah. Final Fantasy remake, at least 7 remake, I'd say.
Yeah, remake and rebirth will definitely be on there.
Yeah.
And maybe a Halo.
Mad.
Let's just finish it off because Xbox talked about Halo. They cited it off of the huge success that Sea of Thieves has been on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
So they're like, we need more of that success.
Yeah, and they've put Grounded and stuff on Switch as well.
Yeah, they're smaller games. You kind of expect them to be cross-platform. But yeah, Sea of Thieves was a bigger title for them. Although, it was a small development, it was a bigger title for them in the end. The future's bright.
Yeah, I think Nintendo are going to dominate. Like over the next few years, at least,
they're going to
They're
going to attract in a lot more players that have never had a Nintendo before.
Absolutely.
More people like me that were like Team PlayStation for years.
Yes.
More people that were like stuck in Xbox land.
Yeah.
Especially if the sun is setting on Xbox hardware, like it kind of feels like it might be.
Yeah. Maybe.
Especially if all of their games end up being multi-platform.
Yeah.
Why would you choose? If that's the case, let's say all of Xbox games is multi-platform and you're currently an Xbox player and it's coming up to getting a new console, why would you not choose the Switch 2 over it?
Game Pass. If they
Yes, what I mean.
Game Pass though
if
on
they
Xbox,
keep Game Pass on Xbox, yeah,
then that's your reason to stay.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But if you really want to go, oh well, you can pay full price for our games and play them on the Switch too.
Really good point. Imagine Starfield on the Switch.
It will run better than the Absolute.
It'll run better than it does on the Xbox.
Yeah, it'll run better than it does on the Steam Deck.
Oh, it'll probably still be broken though.
Maybe they've just updated the
they have
Xbox, haven't they? 60 FPS and all that.
Yeah, 4K 60 as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Mad.
Probably still a bit broken though.
Maybe I haven't tested it since.
It's Bethesda.
Yeah,
they'll find a way.
Bethesda.
Anyway, that's 50 minutes of us rambling about the future.
Yes.
Let us know if you're excited as we are by it. And I know that we do talk a lot about handheld gaming, and we're kind of Nintendo fans, so we're going to be a bit excited by it.
Sorry.
But if you're not, I'd love to know what you think about the Switch 2, and if it is as good as it's likely to be and has the titles it's likely to have, does that sway you into potentially buying it?
Yeah.
I'm genuinely interested in that.
Yeah. I think loads of people will. I think loads of people are going to look at this differently because it's the first time Nintendo's gone, okay.
I think about people like my brother. It's a really good example. Big gamer, has always been, like I have been. Has always been a PlayStation player. Loves a good first-person shooter and that kind of stuff. When I talk about this, I'm thinking about him, and he's probably listening to us and chuckling that I'm saying his name. But I wonder if it would sway someone like him. Do you know what I mean? He's always been a PlayStation player. Yeah. But if suddenly, if Call of Duty, let's say, becomes available and it's as good as it could possibly be on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Well, what's the reason not to?
Yeah, exactly. And you've got the added bonus of playing it handheld.
Yeah.
You're not limited to trying a remote play with really bad internet.
Yeah, like on his lunch break at work, I can just
pull it out. Pretty
amazing.
Done. Yeah, it'd be insane.
Yeah, so if you're like Rob, my brother, and if you are Rob, my brother, say hi. No, I'd love to know what you think anyway. So put it down in the comments below. Maybe you think we're totally wrong, and that's cool too.
We're not.
I just won't listen to you. If you got to the deep end and you're in podcast land, please do rate the show.
Do it.
5 stars is obviously the only score you can give it, so obviously we're good enough.
Yeah.
And please do share it with a friend. Maybe they like gaming stuff too, and they want to hear our voices accompanying them through their long trip to the toilet.
Yes, or amongst your work colleagues, apparently.
That happens as well.
Yeah.
I've heard it does happen. It's true.
Yeah.
What else should they do, Andy?
They should become a member.
Yeah.
Yes. And then they can view these videos early, but you can also come and talk to us in our private Discord with all our membery friends.
Yes. Occasionally we even play games together or just show pictures of Andy's balls. Sorry, his dog's balls.
Yes.
It's not that kind of Discord.
Generally try and crop them out, but you know.
You try to crop them out? Well, your balls or your dog's balls?
Both.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't think they're
not
appropriate.
the pictures you send me, though.
No.
I'd appreciate it if you did it on the pictures you send me more.
But you pay for those ones.
It's true. Yeah, $5.99. If you're in YouTube land, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, and then consider watching something else from us. Smash between our faces. Oh, that's right. And until the next time,
bye.
You're supposed to say, I'll see you next time.
No, I just go straight in with
a
bye.
If you don't even know the catchphrase, how are they supposed to remember it?
I know the catchphrase. I just jump in with a bye. That's the joke, isn't it?
Bye.